All right, this is Jeff Zimmerman with FightNews.com. I'm with the champ, Joshua, the Professor Franco, WBA Super Flyweight champ. How you doing, Josh?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Listen, I've been following your career for quite some time now. I've covered you a few times here in the DFW area, and now you're a world champion. How does that feel? You've been one for a while, but just to call yourself a world champion.
It feels pretty good, especially coming off my last victory. I feel like I needed that fight to prove to everybody that, I was still champion. So, it feels even better now to call myself champion still.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the fight a little bit, but let me ask you, because I've never heard you answer this, or I've never heard anyone ask you, but where did the Professor nickname come from?
It came from when I was first meeting with Robert Garcia. I had met with him in Oxnard, and I went to a gym in Oxnard, and when I walked in the gym, one of his assistant coaches, his name was Larry, or Donald. His name was Donald. He see me walk in the gym, and he see me like wearing my glasses and like a collar shirt, like button up, and he asked me if I was a fighter. I told him, yeah, I'm a fighter. He said, you don't look like a fighter. You look like you could be like a teacher, a professor. And, everybody started laughing when he said that. And ever since then, it just stuck with me. Everybody like, all right, you're the professor now. So, it just stuck with me.
I think it's one of the best nicknames in boxing. And I had a feeling it was tied to teaching or something to that matter. But I think it's a great nickname.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You could tell people you take fighters to school. That could be,
Yeah, for sure. I think that counts too.
Right. So, you're from San Antonio, a huge fight city. Obviously, Texas is a huge fight state. Canelo fought there, within the last year. I covered a fight with Pacquiao there. How does it feel to represent a fight city like San Antonio?
It feels really good, nothing but tough, and good fighters come out of San Antonio. We have 5 world champions now, so to be one of those fights to represent the city, it feels really good, because we don't have as many champions, but it feels good.
So we were talking at the beginning about your last fight up in Tulsa a few weeks back. It was a trilogy with Andrew Moloney, and the second fight ended in some controversy with headbutt versus jabs, etc. How satisfying was it to put that to bed and win convincingly?
It was very satisfying, because especially like you said with the second fight, the way it ended, everybody was, counting me out and, talking bad about me. So, I feel like all of that just fueled me up. I went to the training camp, and, I had a mission in my mind, and, I was ready to go. It felt really good, not shutting everybody up, but, kind of calming everybody down and, making them realize that, hey, look, I'm still champion. That second fight didn't define who I was, it was just a bad night, for boxing, and, it is what it is.
Now, you might be the only fighter, at least in modern era, that I can think of. Maybe Pacquiao fought a couple trilogies. I would have to check that. But you have 2 trilogies for a guy with about 21 fights, back to back with one guy in between. How does that even happen?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just that's how boxing is sometimes, But I was. I'm blessed to have those trilogies in my career. I feel like, both of them are just going to help me even better as a fighter.
And what is the most challenging thing about fighting a guy 3 times? You obviously have gone several rounds with the same guy, but once, twice, and then 3. What is the biggest challenge?
I would just say, knowing that the two of you know each other very well, so you kind of already know what the other person's going to do. So I would say the biggest challenge is, knowing that, and, having to, make something a little different in the third fight. You have to find, a little something to add to your arsenal so you can come out on top for the trilogy.
Yeah, and talk about a guy with perseverance and to get through all that and now get to the mountaintop is pretty amazing. Anything's possible.
Of course.
Now, you're trained by Robert Garcia, who's talk about the mountaintop. He's been on top of the mountain for every time I see him, I always tease him that Texas is his second home. Because he's here so much, whether it was Brandon Rios against, with fighting against Pacquiao, et cetera, over the years. Mikey fought here against Juan Lopez years ago.
Yeah.
Arguably the best trainer in boxing, future Hall of Famer, no doubt. What is it like training under Robert Garcia at his boxing academy and having guys like Jose Ramirez, Mikey Garcia, you know, a lot of people think the future face of boxing, Virgil Ortiz around you?
Yeah. It feels really good. You know, we have a great stable. You know, we have a strong team. We all push each other in the gym, and you know, seeing other people like that in the gym, like you said, Virgil, Jose Ramirez, Mikey, Falcao. You know, all of those fighters. You know, you see them in the gym, and you know, it makes you want to go even harder. You know, we all push each other in the gym, and you know, we're all big, one strong team. And you know, of course, having Robert, you know, with all his coaching experience, you know, it brings even more confidence in you. And you know that you're in good hands.
Now, obviously, the night you fought, there was another big fight that night. There was a few fights that night, but another one just not too far away, a few hours away in Frisco, Texas, that I happened to be at with Virgil Ortiz Jr. A little bit of a different thing there because obviously Robert's in Virgil's corner along with Virgil's dad. Did you and Virgil ever talk about that, or I talked to Virgil about it, and he said he thought it was how things kind of worked out.
That what? You got cut off a little bit. I'm sorry.
I was asking, obviously you fought on the same night as Virgil Ortiz up here in Frisco, and both of you guys trained by Robert. Obviously Virgil has his dad as well. Did you guys ever talk about that going into the fight, kind of how things were going to, split up with the training?
No, we didn't really talk about it. You know, we kind of just kept training every day, and we were just waiting to see, what was going to happen. But I mean, we just had the fights on our minds, so we were just just training for our fights. We didn't really discuss, any of that stuff.
And I asked Virgil if he was asked about it, and he said no, but if they would have asked him, that's exactly how he would have laid it out. And obviously it worked out well for both of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was blessed to have Robert in my corner come with me, knowing that, he had another fighter, as Virgil. He had a tough fight as well. So, it felt really good, but, everything worked out great. Both sides of the team won. So, everything was good.
It was a good night. Good night for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Now, I mean, obviously you've been working to get to the title. What's harder, Joshua? And I'm here with Joshua Franco, the WBA super flyweight champion, Jeff Zimmerman, FightNews.com. What's harder, getting the title or retaining the title?
I would say, retaining the title, because everybody's, trying to take that off of you. Everybody wants to beat you and, dethrone the champion. So, every day you're in camp, you're pushing yourself even harder than the day before, just because that you don't want to lose the title, and it feels good, I'm ready, and I'm gonna be champion for a long time.
Well, and you got some guys that are out there actually having a trilogy of their own. Chocolatito, who was once the pound for pound #1 guy in boxing, Estrada, who's considered by all accounts top 10 pound for pound. It's been said that you can have the winner of that fight. What are your thoughts?
Man, that would be a badass fight. Either fighter, guy with Estrada or Chocolatito. I feel like both of those fights with me will put on a big fight for the fans. Nothing but fireworks. And I just hope the best man wins. I want to fight nothing but the best. So seeing those news, it motivated me even more. When my dad sent it to me, and I was just like, oh damn, that's crazy. I was just like, I was in shock just looking at the article. But it's such a blessing. And when the time comes, I'll be more than ready.
Now, obviously, Chocolatito, a lot of people thought he won that last fight. Did you see the fight, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I also think that Chocolatito put it out. I feel like he should have been the winner of that fight, but it was still a close fight either way. Both guys left it all on the line, and they left everything in the ring. So, I mean, I feel like either way, it could have gone either way, or even a draw.
If you get the opportunity, how cool would it be to fight in San Antonio against one of those guys?
That would be a dream come true. That's my dream fight, to defend my title against, a legendary fighter like those two, Gonzalez or Estrada. So that would be a dream come true for sure.
I know how that is. I know how that is. Well, we'll wrap it up here because obviously your dog's hungry and my dogs are too. Let me ask you about your brother a little bit, Bam. He's obviously, you know, I think he's promoted by Top Rank, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he's promoted by Taking Promotions.
Oh, by Tekken, okay.
Yes, sir.
But he's been getting a lot of good exposure.
Yes.
What's it like having a younger brother at that, you know, being in boxing and seeing him on the rise?
Yeah, it's a good feeling, you know. Just, you know, seeing what he's, you know, as a kid, you know, just watching him grow into a man, you know, it's real crazy. And you know, I feel like my brother's a better fighter than me, you know. So whenever I'm watching his spar, you know, I'm trying to learn things from him, and you know, trying to you know, add up to my style. You know, it's pretty badass. You know, seeing my brother, you know, he's ranked in many of the sanctioning bodies, so it's a good feeling, bro. And it's crazy. It's crazy seeing him, you know, from seeing him so young, and you know, now seeing him as like a season. He's you know, a season pro. It's pretty badass.
Now, do you guys ever talk about being champions together? Do you guys have that conversation?
We have a few times, you know, we just talk about how badass it would be, you know, for, you know, both brothers in the family, you know, to be holding world titles. So that's a dream for us, you know, that we want to do.
That would be pretty cool. Now there's a guy that runs your promotion, the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya. He's 47 and still has the itch to fight and is fighting in a couple weeks against Vitor Belfort, former UFC champion. What are your thoughts fighting under Oscar and the fact that he's getting back in the ring?
Oh, it feels good fighting under Oscar, you know, especially watching him, you know, when I was a young kid, you know, watching all of his big fights, you know, I was a fan of him as well. So, you know, to be promoted by, you know, one of the biggest faces in boxing, it's badass, bro. It feels good. But you know, I feel like, you know, Oscar, he's been looking like he's getting in pretty good shape. You know, he's looking sharp on the mitts. I seen him. You know, I hope he does good in his performance.
Yeah, he showed his abs the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but looks like he's got that six pack going pretty good.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen he had a six pack going. So, you know, he must be in some pretty good shape.
Is it motivating though? I mean, obviously Oscar was the face of boxing all these years and did a lot of big fights in Texas. But just to see your promoter, you know, train like he is that motivating for a guy like you?
Well, for sure, you know, especially with, you know, with the age that he's at right now, just still, you know, still seeing him be sharp and, you know, it looked like he still has that speed on him. You know, it feels pretty good, you know. It's pretty badass seeing that, you know, that he's still motivated, you know, he still has that fire for boxing, you know, he wants to get back in the ring. So it's pretty cool seeing that he still has that fire for it.
Do you have a prediction for his fight?
I feel like he's gonna stop the other fighter, maybe less than 6. I feel like he's gonna stop him.
All right. Well, you heard it here. And before we wrap up, Josh, I mean, obviously you're on the rise. You're a world champion. Got a bright future in front of you. You got a good head on your shoulders. And any shout outs out, you know, sponsors, you know, anybody out you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just shout out to all my supporters. Shout out to my sponsors, all of my sponsors. My fans, my family, and you know, to you as well, Jeff. Thank you for your time and, you know, for reaching out for your interview. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. I know you're busy these days and you'll be back in camp before we know it. I hope it's against Chocolatito or Estrada for a mega fight. And if it's in San Antonio or anywhere in Texas, I promise to be there in person. And I wish you all the success going forward and good luck to you.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Josh.
Yes, sir.